Hello, my name is Yarrow Willard, and today I'm hanging out with this beautiful friend, Arnica. Oh, look at those gorgeous flowers. This is such a fun plant to pick. You just kind of pull your fingers in between it and pop it off like so. Arnica grows up the mountainous areas, and so we'll find it on these big mountain slopes. Here we're at the ski slope today, and there is tons of Arnica everywhere. Now this plant is in the Compositae family, and as you can see, it kind of looks like a sunny little sunflower. This family of plants has some of the best chemistry that we know of as far as herbal medicine goes. I consider them to be the most evolved plants in the sense that one bee lands on there and it impregnates a good 100 ladies. Pretty efficient. So we find plants like calendula, echinacea, dandelion, elecampane, and of course, Arnica in this family. Because of their ability to reproduce so efficiently, they're able to save their energy to create really complex and amazing chemistry. In Arnica's case, it has all kinds of sesquiterpene, lactones, and tannins, and branch polysaccharides. Some of them mimic what echinacea has, which is that immune stimulating function. Arnica though, just so you know, is a toxic plant. We can't take too much of this. We have to be very careful. So the native peoples of this part of the world would use very small amounts internally. And we also use what's called a homeopathic internally. So homeopathic Arnica is one of the #1 homeopathics that is used for things like trauma, pain, all this kind of swelling and inflammation. So we're gonna go there in a minute. But first I wanna just make sure you got a handle on what it is that we're picking. So there are many different types of Arnica that grow in the mountains. This one happens to be Arnica latifolia. And as you can see, it has these oppositely paired leaves that are slightly toothed, but not all that hairy. The one that is most commonly known as medicine is Arnica montana, and that's the one that grows in Europe. Arnica grows between 30 and 60 centimeters tall, and when we're harvesting it, we want to take just the flowering tops. Now, the way that this plant reproduces is by seed, and it divides by root division. So it's okay for us to pick a whole lot of these flowers, because if I pick all of these flowers that are in bloom right now, I'll come back in a week or two and they'll start to reshoot out new shoots. Such a nice fragrance. This is one that I'm afraid to eat too much of. I could have a little nibble, but I know it'll increase my circulation and get me a little more bouncy, and I just want to make sure I'm not too giddy on camera. Woo! Arnica. How did we first discover Arnica to be useful as a medicine? Now the old story goes that the mountain goats up in the hills, when they were hiking around, when people were hiking around, started observing the mountain goats, they found that when they fell and bruised and hurt themselves, they would come down to these big patches of Arnica in the open fields and start rolling in them to help heal their bruises. So, like good herbalists, started copying nature, and we found that this shiny little flower here had a major benefit for healing any kind of bruised tissue and damage to the body that way. It also helps to increase circulation, so it gets the blood moving, almost like a stimulating effect when you pick this plant and if you hang out with it and nibble little bits of it. It's always safe with a herb like this that is slightly toxic to be taking about that amount. Take a moment and just connect with this plant. If we are going to make this into a tincture, we're going to be taking drop dosage. And this has really only got benefits for a few things. Those are mostly shock and trauma to the body. So say after a car accident or some kind of traumatic incident where we have major damage to the body, this will help calm down that shock and trauma. It also helps alleviate the pain. It has analgesic qualities, but we want to use just small amounts. So we might also use this for things like headaches, or we might use it for any kind of major external bruising. We'll take just a couple of drops internally to help benefit that, or inflammation in the body in general. Using this as a flower essence might be beneficial for those people who have had traumatic experiences in the past, whether that's their ego, their mind, their body, or their spirit. Arnica is a good one to connect with in this way. But mostly how we use this is we make a macerated oil. So you'll see these flowers, they're kind of almost buttery, and I know there's lots of good oils in there. When I squeeze them, I know that I can get a lot of oils out of that. So we'll make a macerated oil to make this into medicine. But you know, if you are out hiking in the field or the forest and you come across Arnica and you've hurt yourself, you can just mash it up and make what's called a poultice. So if you got a big bruise, you might mash a bunch up, put it on there. Say I bruised, actually let's bruise up here. Oh, and just mash that up, rub that right into the skin. Now we have to be careful too, too much arnica oil or arnica salve or mashed compressed arnica can cause a little bit of blistering on the skin or eczema if we do it continually. So this is really a first aid herb. It's one of those herbs we use sparingly with specific intention. So practitioners that use arnica for major pain have found that people recover a lot easier from this than they do from things like morphine. So it might be a useful herb in that sense if we're gonna have a lot of pain recovery from trauma. Arnica said to increase the heart rate, as well as to open up the blood vessels and get better circulation to the area. We find for inflammation and damage internally, those small drop dosage can be used that way. So just like it's gonna heal inflammation on the skin, small amounts internally will help heal that way. So we don't want to wilt this flower down before we put it into a macerated oil, because as soon as we do, it'll turn into a dandelion type seed head like so, and we'll lose some of those medicinal compounds. Now once we've picked our basket full of arnica, we want to macerate it in oil, and all we have to do is make sure we cover it to the top with oil and allow that to breathe by putting a cheesecloth or something over top. Any of the arnica sticking out might mold, so we have to make sure that it goes down. We can either take a rock and press it down, or just make sure we have enough oil to go over top of it. Now this oil then becomes very beneficial for making into a salve or putting externally on the body just like the way it is. If we want to use arnica oil as medicine, the biggest benefit we have for it is really that bruised and inflamed tissues. Now this also stems as far as to go for kind of pain management. We have major pain issue such as things like fibromyalgia, or where we have these muscle aches and pains. Other people really like to use this when they go skiing or when they go biking, or they get those sore muscles. So arnica can be a great one for releasing tension from the tissues, helping to pull that out and just kind of relax down the body. One of the ways in which it works is it helps to increase circulation to the area and pull out those dead blood cells. Especially when we have pain and inflammation or soreness, this can be a really great, easy way to just kind of calm the body down and relax those tissues. If you are in mountainous regions where there's big, deep slopes and you want to get out and find this medicine, I encourage you to check it out. Usually around early July is the best time to pick arnica. Now you can pick it and come back and pick it again. Usually most people only need a little bit, so only pick enough for the season, because you can always come back and get more next year. Get out and find your arnica. It's a wonderful plant, and I hope you too start connecting with this one more profoundly. Thanks for joining me. I'm Yarrow Willard, and this has been Arnica. Come down up to 8 inches long. As you can see, this beautiful taproot here is starting to milk out some latex. Now this latex has been used as medicine.
I like this latex because it's one of the best things.